Some lunar harps lie here underground. We could excavate one for you if you'd like. I want... Some lunar harps lie here underground. We could excavate one for you if you'd like. We can excavate other things too. What are you after? All right, I'll lend you some of my staff. Show them where you want to dig. Press switch to move staff into position. The bomb can be detonated underground by pressing switch. Each staff member will calculate the tremors and look in the direction of the buried item. In other words, the excavation area is where the staff member's line of sight intersects. Move to the excavation area and press switch to confirm the dig. Alright, we'll dig in that area. Anything we find will be placed in the village treasure box overnight.
Welcome to Bone Village, the home of naturalists. How can I help you? City of the Ancients. Oh, you must mean the Forgotten City. Yes. Welcome to Bone. How can I?
Have you seen Aerith?
Do you mean that girl I saw? I warned her, but she went into the sleeping forest anyway.
Excavating is pretty straightforward. Any treasure we find is stored in the box next to the tent. Don't forget.
Apparently, the sleeping forest can be awoken with a lunar harp. They say the forest opens a path once it's awake. Believe it or not, a girl in a pink dress went through it using a lunar harp not too long ago. Talk to the guy in the tent below.
We use the latest technology to discover what's buried underground. We create artificial earthquakes using explosives and then analyze the reflected oscillations.
The area beyond here is called the Sleeping Forest. It is said that those who enter when the forest slumbers become disoriented and lose their way. Once they've gone in, they may never make it back out. A girl in pink and a man in black entered earlier, though. Do you think they're all right?
Beds.
Come on, let's take a break. I'm sick of walking.
There are beds. We want to rest? I can feel it.
Cloud, what's up?
Aerith is here. So is Sephiroth.
What did you just say? Sephiroth!
How can you know that?
I'm not making it up. I can feel it. Deep down inside of me.
Then we better get up off of our lazy asses.
Yeah. Let's go find her. Aerith's voice. It came from over there. Aerith?
Stop!
What are you making me do?
she will soon be part of the planet's energy. This little diversion is at an end. All that remains is to head north. The promised land awaits me over snowy fields. There, I shall be born anew, by becoming one with the planet. Hence, the girl shall become one with.
The cycle of nature and your stupid plan don't mean a thing. Aerith is gone. Aerith will no longer talk. Will no longer laugh. Cry. Or get angry. What about us? What are we supposed to do? What about our pain? My fingers are trembling. My mouth is dry. My eyes are burning.
What are you trying to say? That you have feelings?
Of course I do!
Spare me your grief. And you needn't pretend that you're shaking with anger either. Because, Cloud, you are.
Everyone, listen. I'm Cloud, ex-soldier, born in Nibelheim. I came all this way to settle things with Sephiroth.
Why are you saying this now?
I came here of my own free will. That's what I thought anyway. But now I'm not so sure. The truth is, I'm afraid of myself. There's a part of me that I don't understand. It made me give the black materia to Sephiroth. At the altar. If you hadn't stopped me, I would've. There's someone inside me. Someone who's not really me. That's why I've thought of quitting the journey. Because I might do something terrible. But I've decided to carry on. He burned down my hometown. He killed Aerith. And now he wants to destroy the planet. Sephiroth. I can never forgive him. I have to go on. I've got a favor to ask. Will you all come with me? I want you to keep an eye on me. Make sure I don't try anything funny.
Come on, man.
I don't know how Aerith planned to stop Meteor, and I guess now we'll never know. But we still have a chance. We've got to get the black materia from Sephiroth before he can use it. Let's go.
So, which way did he go?
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, Sephiroth. He told me to head north, beyond the snowfields. Down. Left.